So as coaches, we're constantly digging into the data, training peaks, WKO, looking at athletes' performance with workouts, and most of the time we're communicating within training peaks, leaving notes back and forth. Athlete how they feel, coach, commenting on how workout looked, prescribing the next one based on previous, et cetera, et cetera. And I had a chance here to talk to Doug Frinchek, one of the athletes I've been working with since late last year, and thought it'd be refreshing just to do it, face to face, and instead of in print. So I knew he had an event coming up, um, and he did really well. As an update to this, he ended up winning the Davy Crockett GC. I think he got second or third in the time trial, and then each of the two road races as well. So it was a successful week in for him. And this is just some of the notes that kind of we shared in person with each other, just kind of in open dialogue. Hope you enjoy. So hey, just wanted to sit down and kind of catch up. Usually we do this stuff, through training peaks and writing things down, and sometimes it's better just to look someone in the eye, even if it's virtually, and
Yeah,
kind of catch up this way. So I just wanted to get an overview of how kind of you're feeling about things in general, and then how you're feeling specifically like right now today.
man. Overall, I think the progress since starting this whole thing has been crazy. I never really did structured training anything before, so it's like last June I think was my first FTP test, and I literally did 300 watts for 20 minutes, and I fell off, like got off my bike at the end of the road on the side of the road and just laid there like dying. And
Yeah.
now I'm like, I could probably do 300 for 20 pretty. I mean, obviously I did think an hour and a half one time now.
Yep.
So I'm like, dang, it's crazy how just structured training and sticking to something and not just going out and trying to race every group ride makes a huge difference. And I feel much more confident on the bike, and just with my fitness right now, that it's pretty cool, just to see the hard work and progress keep going on, getting better and better.
Yeah, I remember when we first got going, kind of right out of the gate, maybe 4 or 5 weeks in, you sent a note and like, hey, my CTL is going down.
Yeah.
Should I be concerned? And I mean, it's definitely one data point that is worth looking at. But like you said, you rode a lot, but it wasn't super structured. So you had a high CTL, but there was a lot of low hanging fruit that we could go after. And the main thing was being able to extend your ability to ride at 300 watts, because it was at 20 25 minutes, and now you're at 90 minutes, right? And
Yeah.
over 300, your FTP's gone up, because that was one thing. It's ironic that certain numbers, like we mentioned CTL, your Pmax, like your overall max power for just a few pedal strokes, has gone down. But that you're faster, you're way more dangerous racer now. So you said you feel more comfortable and confident on the bike in your group rides and races. Like, can you kind of describe that a little more compared to what it was, say, last June?
Yeah, so like I really haven't had much racing experience. I think before working with you, I did Tommy K one race, Crockett crit in a road race, and then I did Lago Vista one race I won, and one I crashed out for the sprint. And so I really didn't have much experience, and they were all just 4 or 5 races, beginner races. And now I made with, it was kind of sucked with COVID, but at the same time, it was pretty cool because this company VeloFest promoter, they started doing these open races, which they have an open, they have a medio cat 3 race, and then a 4 or 5 race. Well, I actually had signed up for the 3, and one of my teammates that I ride with a lot, he was like, let's just try the open race. And I was like, yeah, it's a good idea. But then I started getting, nervous. I'm like, man, these are guys that I follow on social media that, win all these P1, 2 races. And you look at the grid and I was like, it's just so intimidating, it's like, and then after, a few months doing this and the training, I did it and I completely surprised myself. And it was like, man, these people that I thought were so much stronger than me, I'm right there with them. And a lot of them dropped off. And I was, one of the last people standing. And one of the guys on my team, Mario, he's owns Mindset Performance. He's a mental coach too. And he was one of the last people. And I'm like, he's like, be careful, be ready, we're gonna get you to the sprint. And I'm like, I could sprint these guys? And he's like, slap me in the back of the head. He's like, it's all in your head. And I'm like, you're right. And at the end, I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, I can race with these guys. They're not any stronger than I am, and it's just cool to see the progress in less than a year, being nervous about doing a Cat 5 race. And then a few, 6 months later, I'm challenging for podiums in the P1 2. And it's like with some big name people. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool how quick the progression went. And one of the guys that actually introduced me to Evoke, Bryant Boren, he is being coached by Brennan, but he's the one, I saw his progression and like his rides over the year and like the few months I was following him, and he was telling me like how big of improvements he made with Evoke. And I'm like, he kept telling me, I'm like, it almost seemed too good to be true. And like, he's doing these crazy, like long 1 hour efforts and all this. And I was just like, dude, I could never do that. And just a few months in, it's just like, he's messaging me now. And he's like, dude, you're killing it on these things. He's like, every workout, he's like, you destroyed that one. Like, dude, your progression's huge. And so it's just pretty cool that with a good coach and some training, some structured training, how quick you can make gains and progress here.
What's been the biggest difference, so like you're talking to Brian and now that you're working with us, like what's been the biggest difference that from what you were doing to what we're doing now?
And I think being able to hold, like before in the group rides and stuff I do, I found we would all rotate a lot. Like I would just do, like I'd go to the front, we do like, you'd hammer hard for a minute or so, and then you just go to the back and recover and do the same thing. But now I find myself doing, 60-mile group ride or 70-mile group ride, and I don't leave the front. Like I'll stay there the whole time, and the person to the right with me will rotate the entire ride, and I'll just stay in the front the whole time. And it's like, I've never been able to do that. And it's just like holding, 300 watts for an hour. I was like, dude, that I could barely do it for 20 minutes. And it's just like the being able to stay at threshold and the higher watts, which when I came to Evoke, that was my thing, is like, I felt like I had a good sprint. I was hitting 1500 watts, but I wasn't ever able to hold, the higher wattage for a while. I'd get gassed pretty quick. And even doing these VO2 ones lately, it's like I noticed when doing the threshold workouts before, I would get to 300 and my heart rate would creep to like 180 and I'd be kind of stuck there. And now it's gone down to like maybe lower 170, mid 170s when I'm at threshold. And now like when I do the VO2, it's like my heart rate is where it used to be when doing threshold. Like I'm staying high 170s, lower 180s now. And it's like just cool to see the progression of, because that's, you have to be there at the end of a race to sprint. Like, hitting 1600 watts, whatever, is cool. But when is that going to be good if you can't make the break and be able to last? And I've noticed in these races that majority of them, it's a breakaway. If you're not in the break, you're racing for 5th or 6th. And so it's very important to be able to do that, to unleash, I guess, a sprint at the end.
Right. To get, and then you had that one race recently where, okay, you missed the break. There's 3 guys up the road. So now we're racing for 4th or 5th or whatever the case was, and you still, even though it hasn't been a focus of ours, the sprint, you still have enough pop at the end to win that group sprint after 3+ hours. So it goes to show, you don't have to have a 1600 watt sprint to win races. The key is being able to have the power to get in position and then, do what you can. Because at the end of 3.5 hours, no one's going to be able to put out max watts anyway.
Hmm.
I mean, you're looking really good, and now you're starting to get into some TT. It sounds like, huh?
Yeah, so this weekend we have the Crockett stage race. Pretty excited about. Last year I did it. I chickened out of the TT. I've never done one. I was like, it's maybe not something I really want to do. I just wanted to focus on the crit and the road race. But now, I mean, ever since the COVID, I've been training pretty much for this race, and I would love to win the overall GC for it. And I'm pretty confident in both of the road races. Because every one I've done so far, I feel like I've done fifth or sixth or better. I mean, I think sixth
Yeah.
is my farthest back finish, and that was in the open class. So it's kind of cool to see the time trial kind of happen. It's only, I think, 7.8 or 8 miles. It's going to be probably, I'd say 20 minutes or less or something,
Yeah, that's what I was
hoping.
thinking.
But it just kind of be cool to, I got a decent time trial bike. I rode it yesterday. 200 watts, still average like 21.4 with some decent hills and stuff. So it's kind of cool. But it's just gonna kind of test after a 67-mile race, a 20-minute time trial. We'll see how it goes, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like that first day is the road race, pretty flat for the most part. You know, there's some 1 or 2% kickers here or there, but for the most part, it should be right in your wheelhouse.
You checked out the course?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah, so it's
Nice.
pretty flat. I mean, it looks like it has some topography to it, but when you actually look a little bit closer, I think it topped out at 2% on just a small little section.
Oh,
I could be
wow.
wrong, but I'm pretty sure. And then same with the TT, it's an out and back. Looks pretty flat.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and like you said, I'm probably figuring about a 20-minute effort or so. So I'll put some notes in Training Peaks for you just for some targets to go off of, and then the Sunday road race. That one's got a little more topography to it. I think I saw it up around 14% at one. So it's got
Yeah.
some kickers, but it's got a real fast finish if you can get there.
Uh-huh. I did that one. That's the course I did last year. They added this new one and replaced the crit. So that second one with the hills, I've actually rode it last year in the race, and then I went down there for work earlier last year, and I did it after work one time, and man, it was way harder by myself because you weren't carrying as much speed to go up the next hills and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But
mean, I think it's just survival for you on that. And when I say survival, it's like be willing to empty the tank to stay with, the field or, the small group that you're in, because that finish could be tailor made for you. You know,
mhm.
it's got a little bit of a riser, but then it flattens out and it's actually like a 0.4 decline heading to the line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got second in that one last year. A guy broke away with like 20 miles to go, and then I got in a two-man break with like 11 miles to go. And the guy I was with, the kid I was with, he was in the GC, I wasn't. So we made a deal. Let's work together. I'll take the second place. You take the overall GC. So it worked out good.
Cool deal. So, what uh, what do you have after this as far as the calendar goes?
Man, I'm so bummed because the two big things that I was looking forward to this year is this and Tulsa. I didn't realize they had opened up Tulsa again. And last year I was in, but I didn't really know what kind of if I was gonna be around here or what my living situation was. So they asked if I wanted a refund last year just to send my entry over for next year. And I was like, oh, just give me a refund. Well, I've been looking for like last month or two when the registration was open and it kept saying just sold out. And then I talked to someone else and they're like, dude, it opened a while ago.
Oh,
And so it's completely sold out. And I emailed them and trying to get a spot or something, but I haven't heard anything back. So really there's like nothing.
oh, bummer.
Maybe these VeloFest races but everything else I haven't heard anything else on the schedule. It's just this.
Gotcha,
It's kind
gotcha.
of
Well,
bum. Yeah.
I mean, I think we did it right. Like you and I started working together. I think it was, beginning of January.
Yeah. Or the end of December, like last couple
Yeah,
weeks,
somewhere in
maybe.
there. And then, you were like, hey, I want to be, racing into February. So we kind of ramped that up, and then we had our eyes on this one. But I'm sure there'll be some local stuff that we can get in there on the calendar and mix it up
Yeah,
again. So,
the Wednesday night crits will start here soon too. So hopefully I can get some upgrade points from those.
gotcha.
Because really like to try to get a 2 upgrade soon. I was kind of adamant on it, and one guys on my team were like, "No, take it, take your time and blah, enjoy winning in podiums." But now after I kind of got a taste of blood with them, I think I'm not too far off podium and stuff there. And so, and our Cat 1 team, it was kind of sorry last year. There was only really 2 guys racing, and but now this year the one guy Mario's in super good shape, and another guy Kyle and Mark, and we just added a new guy today, Reggie. So we have like a 5-man team. If I can get up there, it'd be a solid 6-man, and I think we could be pretty competitive and finishing towards the front. So that'd be pretty cool.
Nice.
But just trying to
So,
get the points with no races.
yeah. So these open races that you've done, they in no way have impacted your your points with.
0, man. It's this guy, since USA Cycling is like, they're not giving out race permits or something. I don't know what the deal is. They're limiting them, but he's just getting pretty much a Fondo permit, and that's what these have been, is he's registering them as a race, but it's technically a Fondo.
Gotcha.
And so yeah, I don't think they don't charge any points. I think you can get like $1,000 for first place or something, but yeah, there's no points for it, so it's kind of a bummer.
Well, hey, glad we were able to catch up. Thanks for taking a few minutes to talk, and I will I'm going to look a little bit closer at this time trial, and just throw some pacing suggestions
Okay,
at
cool.
you, because you've got a pretty big gap, not a gap, but like you've got this really big number, I think, at 15 minutes, and then the 20 minutes, there's a pretty significant difference. So kind of want to massage that to kind of determine, well, what do we want to do for 20? Because I don't think we can just say, oh, he's done this for 15. Let's just say he can do it for 20.
After a 70-mile race.
Yeah, it's quite a difference. So yeah, you got to take into account, you already got some tired legs. Are both events, it's road race, and then where does the time trial fall? Is it on day 1 or day 2?
Day 1, so it's 10 a.m. tomorrow, the road race, and so I'm guessing 10, 11, 12, 1 be done around 1 o'clock, and then I don't get on the TT bike till 5:15 or 5:20 later.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be sitting around for 4 hours, like, what am I doing?
Yeah, yeah. I would think you probably don't need a huge, 45-minute warm up. Your legs will probably warm back up pretty quick. I mean, they're not going to still be warm, but I wouldn't put much
Okay.
stress on the legs during your warm up. Just get a little sweat going, maybe 1 or 2 minute effort. And then, I'd say 5 to 10 minutes away from your start. And then just kind of, everybody's going to be in the same boat though. Everybody's going to
Yeah.
have tired legs. So I'll take that into account, and then it'll just be a suggestion. But once you get on the road, just ride how you feel.
Okay. I do have a question. So like, going, say the rollers, do you want to put a little bit more power going up, and say 10% more going uphill and 10% less going down,
Yeah.
or to get you quicker over and using gravity to help you carry your speed?
Yeah. I mean, I would think of it like a headwind, like any roller. Think of it like a headwind, and you may have rollers with the headwind. So, um, you know, the cost the cost benefit with the tailwind or downhill is less. So in other words, um, if all things being equal, someone same size, same setup, everything's the same, putting out 360 watts going downhill or with the tailwind versus someone who's putting out 310 watts, the actual difference on the course is less than if you turn that around and you put it in a headwind or with an uphill. You know what I'm? Does that
That
make
makes
sense?
sense. Yeah.
You can make more gains on a slight incline. You can make more gains with a headwind, with with a greater power delta.
That makes
So
sense.
if you're riding in a headwind, ride harder. And then you can back, you can back off in the tailwind. Same concept with the rollers.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then TT bike, I've never really ridden one except this week. I was reading, you want to get down in the drops as quick as possible. Don't spend much time standing up out of the gate and turn around.
That being said, you got, it's, people say different things. I think you've got 10 to 15 seconds of free time. If are you starting from a dead stop flat, or are you on a ramp that
I have no clue yet.
Okay.
I was
So
hoping a ramp.
let's assume you're flat. It's COVID. You may not even get someone holding you. You probably are starting with a foot down on tarmac. This is my guess. So, once you get those first couple strokes going, try to get up to speed, 10 to 15 seconds. Just think of them as free. Okay.
Okay.
Just with adrenaline going, and you want to get up to speed too. And then you want to start out pretty conservatively, 95% of what you want to put out for the duration for a couple minutes. And then
Okay.
you kind of settle in and you can decide, well, how do I feel? Can I lift from here, or do I just need to hold this for another couple minutes and then decide again?
Okay.
Yeah. And I'll put that in the notes too.
Sweet.
Yeah. So,
Badass.
well, good luck this week, Doug. I appreciate the time, and you're jamming. Everything's looking great, and I just kind of wanted to validate everything that we've been doing, that you're still feeling good about things.
Absolutely. Yeah. Appreciate it. It's been fun.
All
So,
right, sounds good. Good luck. Send me a note with the results.
all right. I will.
All right.
Thanks for
Yep.
your
See you,
time.
Doug.
Later.
Later.